This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell. Presented by PWFEmpire.com with your hosts,
Steven,
Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
This is PWF Empire Live, and in case you guys are wondering where the hell is Jay, he has asked me to fill in for him tonight. You guys may not be familiar with me. I am Lucas the Loudmouth from the Monday Night Raw post show on Pro Wrestling Talk Radio, and joining me tonight is another fellow New Yorker, Steven. What is up, Steven?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jay, you look a bit different today. What happened?
Completely different, don't I?
Yeah, your skin kind of looks a bit lighter.
Let's not get racist here, but I
Grew
also
a
don't have...
beard out?
Yeah, I also don't have any Triple H poster behind me, no Sasha Banks poster, so...
Yeah, what happened to those? You lost your title belts? So many changes.
I think WrestleMania might have gotten to me. But anyway, enough of impersonating Jay here. Let's get straight down to business for the topic discussion of today. Is Roman Reigns against AJ Styles main event worthy heading into Payback?
Well, when you put it like that, it really depends how they're going to build it up. And so far, they haven't built it up. And I know it's only been 1 week, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly yet. I'm not sure how many weeks we have left. Is it 3 weeks? But so far, it's just been... I've been kind of confused by Roman Reigns primarily, because Roman Reigns, he keeps coming out, he keeps saying the I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy, I'm the guy thing, which when he first said it, I liked it. Now it's been like 3 or 4 times that he's used that line. It's kind of feeling forced at the moment. Then he gets interrupted by the League of Nations, which totally threw me off, because I thought they were going for a tweener thing with him, and then out comes this heel group. And I was digging Reigns up until they came out. So far, it's not been built up, but let's see what they do in the remaining 3 weeks.
I don't know, man. Like, AJ Styles, to me, comes off as a guy who is being pushed way too fast heading into Payback. He doesn't even have 3 months yet in the WWE, and he's already main eventing at a pay-per-view at Payback against Roman Reigns. I don't know. I feel like the money is not there right now for this feud. The intrigue is not there. Basically, this has all been Roman Reigns so far. And the fact that AJ Styles had to once again compete for his right, a right that he already earned last week, and he had to compete again. Well, I guess he was already added on, but basically they said if Sami Zayn was to win, he would be added to the triple threat. I don't know. I don't like this feud. Something about it is off. It was rushed. It came out of nowhere. There's no continuation of Roman Reigns against Triple H or anything like that. I'm more interested to see where that goes and where that was going to lead to instead of this.
Well, that's going nowhere. That's gone, as far as I can tell. But yeah, it feels more like, after the Raw that we just saw, it feels more like Roman Reigns is feuding with a babyface Bray Wyatt. It's weird, because I am interested in this feud from a theoretical standpoint. It's sort of the same type of feud that we've had, where you put Cena with a guy like CM Punk or Daniel Bryan, where you have the establishment guy versus the indie darling. And those feuds are usually pretty good. But this one, yeah, AJ Styles has not been pushed hard enough to seem to warrant this. And I don't have a problem with the fact that he's only been here for 3 months. He's an established star. Whether TNA was big or not, everyone knows who AJ Styles is. I don't care how casual a fan you are. He's been a name for the past 10 years. So you've heard the name AJ Styles. I don't have a problem with that. But he did lose to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. he's only had one feud, and that was with Chris Jericho. So it is a bit, which he lost. So it is a bit strange to have him this quickly against Roman Reigns. And if they're using this to turn Roman heel, then I'm all for it. But if they're going to trot out the League of Nations and then Bray Wyatt, I'm just very confused by where this is going.
And that's the problem. You mentioned it right there. The fact that AJ Styles lost to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. We saw how that feud was, and it wasn't even that good. And then they're like jump shipping him to this feud against Roman Reigns. It just feels like it was rushed. The timing and the place for it wasn't right. I mean, maybe if you had done this 4 months later down the road for SummerSlam, hell yeah, I'm all for it, because by that point, AJ Styles would be more established. But I just feel like right now, he's still at a mid-card level. Like, this guy needs more time in the WWE. This is all going to be Roman Reigns. To me, it's completely one-sided. I almost feel as if Roman Reigns is outshadowing AJ Styles in every single category with mic skills, everything. Like that's how I feel.
Well, mic skills, I don't know. I think they're pretty much on the same level.
That's another thing. Like they're not two of the best mic workers. So the fact that they aren't is already kind of making me think even more about this feud being crappy, because you need promos and you need good mic skills to invest in a story, and I haven't gotten that out of them. And it takes more than saying I'm the guy to, get me behind this feud.
Well, I did like what he said. I don't know, was it last week or wasn't last week? Whatever week it was, where he said that AJ Styles has never beaten me and he never will. I like that, because that
was on SmackDown, though, a show that nobody watches. Yeah.
Well, then how the hell did I see it? Because I don't watch SmackDown. I guess I must have saw that on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is on SmackDown. But I like that from Roman Reigns, but I feel like as soon as I thought I knew where they were going with Reigns, which was I thought they were going to do a tweener and then maybe eventually heel thing, then they bring out the League of Nations to get him over as a babyface again. So I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see them stand in the ring together, because I know Roman can exude this smugness that's going to be interesting to see him go up against AJ Styles with. But like you said, this feels more like a SummerSlam feud. This doesn't feel like Extreme Rules or Payback or whatever the hell the pay-per-view is supposed to be. Usually these pay-per-views are padded with filler opponents. The time right after WrestleMania is usually filler. And I'm glad that we don't have a filler opponent. Maybe AJ Styles is a filler opponent. I don't know.
Oh, he definitely is.
I don't know. I don't know, because if it was filler, they would have gone with, like, I don't know, Alberto Del Rio or something, Sheamus, any of those guys.
God. Don't ever say that again.
AJ Styles is not exactly the top of the filler category. Chris Jericho, even, they would have gone with Chris Jericho. Would have been a better choice, in my opinion. But the fact that they went with AJ Styles still perplexes me. I don't know why they did it. I guess it depends who made the call. If Vince made the call, then he probably just did it to put over his guy over the indie darling again. If they have something else in mind, I guess we'll see. But I think we're gonna have to wait to see them in the ring together in a promo situation before we really judge the feud, because really the feud hasn't started yet. He's just won a number one contender shot, and then he reaffirmed that by beating Sami Zayn, which was weird, because it was weird for a number of reasons. It was weird because I don't know why Sami Zayn gets special privileges. Why does he get to... I know that Owens beat his ass, but I don't know. What about Cesaro? Shouldn't he get to have another shot? I don't know. But it was also weird that Owens didn't interfere in that match. I thought he would. AJ Styles beat Sami clean, which is good to have AJ Styles get a clean win, but over Sami Zayn, I don't know if that helps him that much. Sami Zayn is, for anyone watching, just a rookie from NXT. He held the title, but very briefly, and he's known for being an underdog, so it's not like beating Sami Zayn really gave him that much credibility. So I don't know, it's a lot of weird booking decisions all around, but it should be it's interesting to say the least. It's not Del Rio, it's not Sheamus, so we have an interesting opponent. It's just I don't know what they're thinking here, and I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to combine many stories into one with the Wyatts and the League of Nations. That's not necessary at all. And going back to that match from last night between Styles and Sami Zayn, it was too predictable for me. Like that took my enjoyment out as far as me trying to invest into the match and getting behind it. I just couldn't find myself excited for it because the outcome was ultimately going to be obvious and predictable. So yeah, very weird booking decisions from Raw last night. And going back to the filler stuff you also said, the problem is every year after WrestleMania, you at least get something sparkful, something interesting, something that kind of changes the direction. I don't know if this feud is accomplishing that. I don't like we remember a few years ago with Brock returning out of nowhere and changing the complexion, or you know, whether it was the Shield turning babyface and turning on the Authority. We didn't get any like real swerve or anything. It's like they just moved on to the next thing and it came off very dry, very stale. And that's not normal for us to say when we sit here and talk about the aftermath of WrestleMania because we always expect something big. That's all I can take from it.
Yeah, maybe the Roman heel turn will be that event, but I don't know if they're going that route.
All right, and now it is time for buy or sell. And this should be pretty fun because I don't know if we're going to agree or not, but that's why we have this. First up for buy or sell, we have the tag team tournament that was introduced last night by Shane McMahon, where basically the final tag team standing will take on the New Day. I believe will be Payback for the tag team championships, and they're doing this tag team tournament, which the New Day is saying is brought to you by the Bootio's cereal box or whatever. Like, way to derail the tag team division. But Steven, do you buy or sell this tag team tournament?
I think this is awesome, so I buy it. They have a lot of great tag teams right now, which is strange because we are all thinking about other divisions right now, like the Divas division or the world title picture, and all of a sudden they have a great tag division that I barely noticed until last week, basically. I mean, they've just brought in Enzo and Cass, they brought in the Vaudevillains, and I guess they're bringing back Primo and Epico for round 3 of their tag team. This time, I don't know how they're any different from the first round, but I guess now they're like chill, like Carlito used to be, except Carlito was cool. No pun intended. Yeah, they have a lot of tag teams, and a lot of them are great tag teams, and I'm enjoying the stuff that Enzo and Cass are doing with the Dudley Boys. I'm pretty sure that they're going to win the tournament, so I buy it. I think maybe they have too many tag teams for their own good, because there's a lot of great tag teams, and only a few of them can get the spotlight at any given time, so hopefully they can manage that, but it's going to be interesting to see who it comes down to, and if it comes down to Enzo and Cass, I'd say that's another feud that maybe is happening a bit too early with the New Day, but it'll be a babyface versus babyface feud, and we'll see who gets the bigger pops, I guess.
The problem with what you just said, saying they have too many tag teams for their own good, yeah, they have a lot of tag teams, but we don't even get to see them showcased every single week on television, which is the problem with this tournament. Like, I had a hard time remembering every team from the tag team division until they unveiled that bracket last night. I'm like, oh yeah, this tag team's still around. Hell, was the Ascension in there? I don't even know if the Ascension was a part of that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so it's like, it's weird because they're making this a big deal, but at the same time, the tag teams, not all the tag teams are that memorable or that special. I'm going to buy this too because this is big. This is putting emphasis on the tag team division. But the execution of it, again, it's like the AJ Styles situation. This was rushed, came out of nowhere. And again, like, this would have been better if they had showcased these tag teams week in and week out, so that you put emphasis behind that and then put importance and make it less predictable who may come out of this tournament victorious. Enzo and Cass definitely help shake things up and make it interesting, but it also hurts, I think, because they might be the most obvious choices to win the tag team tournament. The Dudley Boys, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the Dudleys, but it's definitely a toss-up between one of those two teams.
I could see it being the Dudleys. I could see the Dudleys winning the titles and then Enzo and Cass feuding with the Dudleys. Because the Dudleys have yet to win the tag titles upon their return, I think. They're going on... If they win the tag titles, they'll be 10-time champions. Is that right?
Yep.
So I think they want to hit that number, the WWE. And I think they want the Dudleys on the names of champions. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Dudleys win the titles sooner or later before they leave. Or before they do whatever's next for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win and then go on to feud with Enzo and Cass. But the Dudleys versus the New Day is something we've seen a lot, so that would be kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what they could do as far as separating the Dudleys from all of this, because they're definitely going to be feuding with Enzo and Cass. So it's like if they feud with Enzo and Cass, then who's going to be there to challenge the New Day if they throw out Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys? Who the hell is going to take over and be that tag team coming out of the division to face the New Day at Payback? Because that's what it seems like they might be doing, is eliminating Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys from all of this so that they can have their separate storyline, and then whichever other team comes out of this, which I don't care for other than Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys, I don't know where they go from that.
Well, it could be the Vaudevillains.
Really? The bot? I mean, they're good in NXT, but so far, I don't know how they've been used on the main roster.
Well, neither do I, because SmackDown. But
exactly, we got to start watching SmackDown, man. Hopefully, this brand split, if it ever happens, gives us a reason to actually watch SmackDown.
Well, to be honest, I think it's our fault because they give us reasons to watch SmackDown. Like they put a lot of stuff on SmackDown lately. It's not like plot crucial stuff, but neither is the stuff on Raw, so it doesn't... I mean, they put the Vaudevillains exclusively on SmackDown, so that's... I mean, so far, So that's one thing, and they have quite a few storyline developments on there. So I almost feel like it's my fault for not watching SmackDown. It's not like nothing happens on there. But, yeah. It's just too much wrestling. Even if something did happen, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Exactly, and like they don't promote it enough to the point for me to say, oh, this is going to happen. This is like, they just do it. They don't go ahead and advertise it beforehand or anything like that. So it's weird, but I think it might be a sign of a brand split if they're having different competitors like show up on Raw and not on SmackDown. Because we saw, like you said, we saw them on SmackDown, but we didn't see the Vaudevillains on Raw. So
well, it could be that this relates to our next buy or sell, I think. It could be that the Bullet Club somehow gets into this.
Oh, there's the spoiler, guys. Let's get into that. Last night was the debut and the arrival of the Bullet Club featuring Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, or Michael Cole is referring to Gallows as Luke Gallows for some weird reason. But they basically made a statement last night on Monday Night Raw by destroying the Usos after the Usos had defeated, I believe, was the Social Outcasts to advance in the tournament, and they basically just kicked their ass. Steven, do you buy or sell on the impact from the Bullet Club last night?
I kind of have to sell this. I heard about... Look, I don't watch New Japan. I know who Luke Gallows is. I know these guys are a big deal. I've heard the name Bullet Club. I know it involved Finn Balor and a few other guys. But for all the hype that these guys had, to introduce them by attacking the Usos, I thought was a bit... I don't know. Maybe I overestimated the hype, but if I were looking forward to this group, I don't know if I would have been satisfied with them attacking the Usos. I would have wanted them to debut with Balor if that's their thing. Like I said, I don't know who these guys are, but from my understanding, I thought it was a stable led by Finn Balor, Prince Devitt in New Japan. So, but I mean, of course, he's on NXT. He's the NXT champion, so maybe that's not going to happen right now. I don't know. either way, I feel like if these guys are supposed to be a big deal, I didn't get that they're a big deal by them attacking the Usos. They did have a nice reception from the audience. Cole sold it well. So that was all fine as far as the presentation of their debut, but as far as the context and the circumstances, I thought it would have been more impactful if they would have, if they would have taken the place of what do you call them? The League of Nations. If they would have attacked Roman Reigns, I don't know. I would expect a tag team with this much hype to go after the main event guys for some reason. I don't expect them to go after the Usos. But if they're going to enter the tag team tournament somehow, they always could take out someone. They could have taken out the Ascension. I don't know. There's always room for shenanigans in these things, so it could be that they come out on top. But I have to sell the debut because I thought it was underwhelming for how much I've heard about these guys. And I don't know, I wouldn't be very satisfied with it if I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell it too. And it doesn't help the fact that I turned away from my TV screen for a second after the Usos had won, because I'm like, all right, whatever, who cares? And then boom, out of nowhere, I hear Michael Cole yelling, wait a minute, and then there's these two guys in this ring. I'm like, that's how you're gonna introduce them? Like, they didn't even get an entrance, nothing. They just came out of nowhere. I don't even think the camera was on them as they were attacking the Usos. Like, they just put the camera as they were hitting them, but I don't even think, like, it instantly went to them right away with the shot of them entering the ring or anything like that. So it was weird. It was rushed. Again, I'm using that word a lot tonight, but it was rushed. And like you said, the Bullet Club should have been involved in something bigger and more meaningful than what we got last night. What the hell do they have to do with the Usos? Like, you're making a big deal out of AJ Styles being in the Bullet Club and all of this talk about them coming in and invading WWE. This is how you bring them up, and it was underwhelming, like you said. I don't know. I don't know what to think about the Bullet Club right now. And if the plan is for them to just be a tag team and be separate from AJ Styles, I mean, I'm all for that. But do it in a way where it's going to be executed right. And I don't think that they did that last night. I think it came off as very, very freaking dry.
Well, it looks like a lot of people in the chat disagree with us. I'm reading the comments. People are saying, we don't know enough about wrestling to sell this. Well, look, I don't know who the Bullet Club is. I mean, I know who they are on a superficial level, but I didn't watch them in New Japan. But I do know that a thing or two about making an impact, and I know that the Usos aren't the perfect target to do that. And I understand everyone's excited for the Bullet Club, and maybe if you liked this, that's fine. If you're a Bullet Club fan and you're excited by them going after the Usos, that's cool for you. But if I was looking forward to this group and they attacked the Usos, I'd just be like, oh damn. I see what happens when everyone else faces the Usos. They just kind of get locked into a feud for 12 months. So, I don't know.
I mean, hold on a second. We don't know about wrestling. If you guys are Bullet Club fans, then why are you not wanting to see more out of them? Why don't you want them to do better? Because what we got last night, it was all right. But is that really their best? What do you guys want to see them at their best and be introduced in a bigger story? If you guys are Bullet Club fans, you should be wanting to see them involved in something way better than what we got last night. And like you said, impact matters in wrestling. We don't know about wrestling, right? But we know about moments, and we know about making impacts. That wasn't an impact last night. I'm sorry, but it wasn't.
Well, I think a lot of people liked it because of the way they were received. The crowd was into it. They were chanting Bullet Club. Cole called their finishing move. I don't know. I think I almost feel like they got their fan service, and that's what made them happy. I could be wrong. I don't know really anything about these guys, so I'm gonna say if you like this, that's fine. But I wasn't too impressed. Now they just seem like another two-man big man group to me. I don't see how they're any different from the Ascension, except the Ascension are jobbers. But for all we know, these guys could be jobbers in a few months too. I mean, you don't know with the WWE. So
Steven is really trying to get under the skin of these guys, aren't you? No, but seriously though, like the Bullet Club, I think of that name and it almost sounds like another version of the NWO. I'm not overrating them. I'm not over exaggerating it, but they were really being hyped up to be this huge stable for months. Then hearing Michael Cole say, "Oh, wait a minute, that's Carl Anderson and that's Gallows." Okay, we're supposed to know who these guys are, right? Well, if we're supposed to know who these guys are, that they're a huge attraction and a big deal, why the hell are they just storming off out of nowhere into the sunset and then walking away as if, they were always there? They weren't always there. They were supposed to do something that says, "Hey, this is who we are, and this is what we're going to do." But I didn't get that last night.
All right, well, moving on.
All right, this next one should be fun because I think we're both huge Dean Ambrose fans, and we might have different takes on Dean Ambrose, but let's get right into it. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho, and this new feud and story that is developing between both Jericho and Ambrose. Last night we saw Jericho come out and do his highlight reel and interview himself, which was stupid. Then Dean Ambrose came out and turned the highlight reel into the Ambrose Asylum, and that basically started off their feud. The segment ended with Dean Ambrose hitting dirty deeds on Chris Jericho. But Steven, do you think that this execution between Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho, and hell, not just from last night, but going forward, do you think that the execution will pay off? Buy or sell on Dean Ambrose taking on Chris Jericho?
It's a hard thing to gauge because, look, at this point, I feel like babyface Ambrose has burned out. He reached his peak against Triple H at Roadblock, I think, and he could have reached his peak against Lesnar, but we all know that was a dud. Now we're into the fallout of him facing Lesnar, and really you could have barely tell he faced Lesnar to begin with. So anything from facing Lesnar and having as big of a failure as Ambrose did is going to be a step down. So it's nothing against Chris Jericho. I wanted to see him face Jericho. I wanted to see him face Jericho at Mania because at least it wouldn't have been such a tease. So we would have known what we were getting, and Ambrose would have won. So, but to face Jericho after Mania with this level of antics that Ambrose, I mean, he comes out, he does the Ambrose Asylum, yeah, he's back to his old stuff. And we're gonna get to this later, but it feels like he didn't even face Lesnar. But in terms of buy or sell, I mean, what else am I gonna sell this, or am I gonna buy it? I mean, I'm gonna buy it because, like, what else? Well, what else could it be? Like, where else could the Ambrose go? Are they gonna turn him heel? That's what I wish they would do, but even then, the biggest babyface in the company is practically a heel. So it doesn't seem like it's the right time for that. So I don't know what Ambrose is gonna do. If I sell this, I don't have any other option for him. What else is he gonna do?
Yeah, but you shouldn't be setting your standards low for Dean Ambrose.
No, it's
you know
not.
what I
It's
mean?
not about standards. It's literally there's nothing else for him to do. Like I can't figure.
Trust
out
me, there
anything.
is. There is.
For babyface Ambrose, I can't think of a single thing.
They could have easily inserted him into the feud with Roman Reigns, have him go up against Roman Reigns, not necessarily turn heel.
Well, he
fine.
would have just lost again. So who wants to see that?
But at least it helps him, and I don't
Doesn't
know. Like,
though. I feel like it doesn't help him to lose in big spots anymore. In fact, there's a point of diminishing returns in economics, and Ambrose has reached that point when it comes to losing in big match situations. You know, it helps to lose in a big match situation. We talked about this when we talked about the movie Creed, where Creed loses, and just like Rocky loses in the big match situation, but they don't go on to lose the next 5 movies. Rocky took Apollo Creed to a draw in the first movie, and then he proceeded to win the next several movies. So it's not like it was one big match loss that you could afford to lose, maybe 2, but Ambrose is going on too many that I can't bear to see him in the main event unless he's going to win anymore. So I don't know what to say about Ambrose other than he's in a very bad spot right now because either he has to turn heel, which would be great, but the landscape is not primed for that right now.
Yes, it is. Trust me.
No, because if he did turn heel, I would want him to be the top heel. And if he's the top heel, he's going up against the top babyface, who is Roman Reigns. And I don't want to see a situation where the top heel is being cheered over the top babyface. I don't want to see that. Also, if they're planning to turn Reigns heel, which they might be, then Ambrose definitely shouldn't turn, because then he's just going to be the second top heel, which I won't settle for. I want him to be the top heel. So I don't know what the hell to do with Ambrose. And this is as good as anything I could think of.
Well, in terms of like this feud, like I'm not even thinking about what other options are there or anything. I'm just strictly looking at it from the standpoint of Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. I have to sell this crap. I watched that segment last night and I wanted to freaking puke. Are you kidding me? Like, he's wearing a tie and he's acting all PG and cartoonish, like, oh my God, that is not Dean Ambrose. That is not the identity of Dean Ambrose. And you can, I don't know if he, see, that's weird. Like, I don't know if he actually likes this role and likes doing this. It almost seems as if he doesn't mind and he doesn't care. Like, he's not comfortable, or I mean, he's not uncomfortable with what they're giving him, which he should be uncomfortable, because for God's sakes, I mean, what are they doing with the guy? Like, it's pathetic. It really is. And the fact that he lost to Brock Lesnar as if that never happened, and he's happy about it and making a mockery out of Chris Jericho, but he's not furious and pissed off with the fact that he lost to Brock Lesnar. This guy should be on a tangent right now, killing somebody and really using a chainsaw because he lost at WrestleMania. But that's not what we're getting out of Dean Ambrose. He should be, he should be going apeshit. And the fact that they're just, oh, whatever, this laid back, cool Dean Ambrose, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And Jericho seems like once again he's going to take a step down and make himself stupid for the benefit of Dean Ambrose, much like he did in the feud with AJ Styles, where he acted like a big crybaby. If that's what we're going to get, I'm sorry, but it's not going to work, because you're doing the same story just with a different guy this time, and it's Dean Ambrose instead of AJ Styles. So I have to sell this. Ambrose should be at the main event right now, either as a heel or as a babyface, and you got to give him that character that fits him well, which is this, it's weird, because I feel like when he was in the Shield, that's who Dean Ambrose really is, and that's the best Dean Ambrose, or at least the best version of Dean Ambrose we've gotten in the WWE so far, when he was this Shield badass, and he did some crazy shit, but we're not getting that out of Ambrose as of late, and it's really, really disappointing me, because I could be his biggest fan right now, but it almost makes me want to hate him.
Yeah, I don't hate him, but I'm certainly not excited for him right now.
Yeah.
He really took a drop after WrestleMania, so we'll see. We'll see if he can recover from this. I'm sure he will. He definitely has the talent to do it, but yeah, I think he is complacent. I think he's complacent with this role, and maybe he shouldn't be, but yeah, that's his personal choice, man. He's getting paid pretty well either way, so.
I mean, it's really sad. I mean, I'm sure the match is going to be good. Yeah, you can always say the match is going to be good, but at the end of the day, who cares if the match is good if the payoff is what really matters? And I don't know if the payoff is going to be any good, because nowadays everybody beats Chris Jericho. So who knows what the hell is going to happen from here. Hopefully Jericho can make this work. He seems to be so high on himself these days and putting people over. Normally I would give him credit a few years ago, but as of late, I don't know if he's accomplishing that for younger guys and the future generation of the WWE. Anyway, we move on to the final segment for Buy or Sell, which involves the Bray Wyatt face turn and whether or not the execution of this even matters. And should Bray Wyatt even be turning face to begin with? We had a tweet from Anthony at AntMac45 who asked at PWF Empire if we were going to have a buy or sell segment on this new version of Bray Wyatt. Well, there you go. Steven, buy or sell on Bray Wyatt possibly, being a babyface?
Well, Bray Wyatt, much like Dean Ambrose, has exhausted the list of possible feuds that he could possibly have. So, at this point, what else is he going to do except turn babyface? I don't like the idea of babyface Bray Wyatt. I feel like the character is not suited for it. There are a lot of people who think that a babyface Bray Wyatt is going to be huge. I know the Solid Monster, who does his podcast, he thinks that babyface Bray Wyatt is going to be the Bray Wyatt that takes off, but I don't see that character as a babyface. I see him as a lifelong heel, and something just feels strange if he's a babyface. It feels like it's not really the type of character that should be a good guy. Now, if he plays it like he's sort of a tweener, where he's sort of a rogue, independent rebel force, like the promo he gave at the NXT departure, if anyone remembers that, where he's talking about the Machine. It was a really good babyface promo, but I don't know, something just doesn't sit well with me. But I'm willing to try something different right now, because we all know that Bray Wyatt as a heel has just been, like Ambrose as a face, just exhausted. He's lost every big match situation. What the hell else is he going to do right now? So I'll buy it hesitantly just because, there's nothing else. But it really shouldn't have gotten this way. Bray Wyatt should have been a lifelong villain, and now he's in the awkward position of having to fight against other heels, which is fine as a pit stop. I mean, he did it against the Shield, who became a babyface team for the duration of that feud, but when they first squared off, they were both heel groups, so it's fine as a pit stop. But when you're tag teaming with Roman Reigns against the League of Nations, I just don't see where this could possibly lead that's going to be all that great. I think he runs the risk of becoming a pandering type character. It runs the risk of ruining the mystique of this character. And I'm not sure where they're going to take it, because even if Bray Wyatt can pull off the babyface thing, is Braun Strowman, is he supposed to be a babyface? I mean, that guy, I guess so. If he's with Bray, is the Wyatt family going to betray Bray Wyatt? You run that risk, because Vince is going to be tempted to do that. So there's a lot of risks involved here. But for now, I'll buy it just because it's something new, and heel Bray has been driven into the ground, as we all know.
Yeah, back to what you said with the Wyatt family, you're right. Like, I can't look at a guy like Braun Strowman and say he's a babyface. I think the problem is, if you're going to turn Bray Wyatt face, he has to, get rid of the Wyatt family, get rid of Harper, get rid of Rabbit Rowan, and get rid of Strowman, because I can't look at this unit and say, oh, they're baby faces. It's very weird. It's awkward. And even if Bray Wyatt was to turn face on his own, I don't know if that can kick off. That character is a heel character. It's not supposed to be a guy that is putting over the fans, who can relate with the fans. I mean, what kind of character like that would be in support with the fans? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. I don't know. I don't know where it almost feels like they're just doing this to find something new for Bray Wyatt to do, because at this point they don't want to admit that he's basically in career suicide right now. So I think that they're just trying to make him have a reason to keep being on TV, and it's forced. They shouldn't be forcing it. I don't know. I feel like Bray Wyatt needs a repackaging. That's what I feel.
I don't know what Bray Wyatt needs. But I do know that I read an AMA on Reddit with an insider, Falcon Arrow, the user, and he said basically that Vince believes that he made The Undertaker 2.0 with Bray Wyatt. So that tells you how out of touch they are, or at least Vince is, with Bray Wyatt. Vince legitimately thinks that Wyatt is a made guy. He thinks that he's basically a star and he could afford to lose every match because he's going to put over everyone. That's what Vince sees Bray Wyatt as. we all know that's not the truth. Bray Wyatt is a guy with a lot of potential who has been fucked over by a lot of stupid booking decisions. And this could potentially be another one. I have no problem believing that he's going to get over. He's going to be a hugely over face. That's not the problem. The problem is what is the storyline potential with this? What is the narrative character potential? Who is he going to face that's going to accomplish anything? Because Bray Wyatt, to me, he's the guy that should be putting over the faces, not by losing to them at every turn, but by beating them and then finally losing in the end like a proper villain, like he had with Daniel Bryan. I know Bryan lost the feud in the end, but Bryan did get that moment with the steel cage, which was huge, which shows you how good of a heel Bray Wyatt is. I know Daniel Bryan was over as hell during that time, so you could have put anyone in that spot, but I really believe Bray Wyatt played a role in that huge reaction that Bryan got in that cage match. So Bray Wyatt has a bunch of potential, and I don't know what potential he has as a face, other than just a short-term guy who's over with the crowd but really is not going anywhere.
I think the problem also is you got to find the right opponent for him, because with this character of Bray Wyatt, you have to be very unique and very creative in terms of storylines. Like a few years ago, for example, with John Cena, and we saw how creative that storyline was. And with Daniel Bryan, that storyline was good because it was the right opponent, the perfect antagonist and protagonist featured in the storyline. And as of late, they don't have that right opponent for Bray Wyatt to go up against to make a compelling storyline for himself. And I think that's part of the problem. It seems like they want to do Roman Reigns against Bray Wyatt again, which is why it's so weird, because it seemed like last week he was going to feud with League of Nations, but then now they're trying to tease a possible Roman versus Bray Wyatt feud after Payback. And if you're going to do that, I mean, yeah, you're going to get everybody on Bray's side, but at the same time, the confusion would still be there if he's a heel or is he a babyface. And we already saw this last year. We saw how stupid that storyline was. So if it's anything similar to that, it's just going to fail. Unless they really change it up and they really make Roman the heel this time and Bray Wyatt as the babyface. I think that's the only way you could spark my interest with the roles switching and reversing there. Then that seems very interesting. But if it's the exact same material from last year, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So at this point, we just need to see the Wyatt family break up, I think. That's another thing I was thinking of. Maybe have the Wyatts feud against each other. Maybe when Luke Harper comes back.
No, man. That's the one thing I don't want them to do. The Wyatt family should always be together.
You think so? I mean, I don't
Bray
know.
Wyatt without his family is just a stupid fat guy to bring about crap.
But that's the thing. Like, even if he's with them, what's so appealing about them anymore as a unit? I feel like the only time Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family feel special is if Harper and Wyatt are Bray Wyatt and Harper are together, because the other two guys are completely irrelevant. Well, actually, no. Since Jay's hearing this, Eric Rowan is actually very, very special. He's the
Jay
best
doesn't
one.
like Eric Rowan, though. Oh, okay. That's why you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I take that back.
Now, see, don't.
What
Don't
was
try.
that?
What's that? What's
What
that?
was that?
I think we played an audio clip of Jay. That wasn't really him, guys. Sorry, that was a botch on the production part of this. Anyway, that'll do it for buy or sell. Now we get into the final discussion segment of the evening, and that is WrestleMania, and it basically kind of being non-existent because, man, after the aftermath or after WrestleMania, it seems like WrestleMania was to be forgotten forever. So, did WrestleMania mean anything? And also, part of this question can relate to Shane McMahon because we're seeing him running Monday Night Raw. He lost at WrestleMania. So again, that basically ties into the discussion here. Did WrestleMania mean jack shit? And did it mean anything? What's your take on this?
Well, it pretty much didn't mean anything. Nothing from WrestleMania meant anything that I can see, at least in the big matches and in the small matches. In fact, maybe if we run down the matches and see what the hell happened, we could determine that. Because I'm curious. Let's see, WrestleMania, what was it, 32?
Oh God! The fact that you actually have to look this up goes to show everybody
that's because
how much
they don't list the number anymore, so I don't know. It's just WrestleMania Star or whatever. Okay, so let's see. All right, so main card. All right, so Kalisto defeated Ryback. Well, where the hell's Ryback been? Haven't seen him since that feud.
Oh wait, but that doesn't count. That was the pre-show. Nobody saw that shit.
Right. Okay. So never mind that. Zack Ryder won the ladder match. Well, Zack Ryder is not even in the title picture, and guess what? Neither is the title holder from that pay-per-view. Kevin Owens isn't in the IC title picture. So we go from, I wrote this on Twitter, we go from one pay-per-view having Ryder go over Owens. The next pay-per-view, neither Ryder or Owens are involved in the IC title match. This is the level of hot potato we're playing. Even more so than last year when literally everyone stole the belt. So that means nothing. Jericho defeats AJ Styles. Well, AJ Styles is right now in the title feud, and no real impact of Jericho beating him, so that's something. The League of Nations defeated the New Day. Whatever. I don't... Brock Lesnar defeats Dean Ambrose. Like we said, Ambrose basically no-sold his beating from Lesnar. It made no character impact whatsoever, the fact that he lost. In fact, this feud seemed to happen in a vacuum. It seemed like it didn't even happen as far as Ambrose is concerned. And maybe as far as Brock is concerned. We'll see how he reacts when he comes back in 5 months or whatever. Charlotte beats Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Well, Charlotte is... I'm not sure what the hell is going on here. Who's she going to face at Payback? Is it going to be Natalya again?
And where the hell are Sasha and Becky Lynch? They've been invisible ever since then.
I guess they have. Yeah, that's right. Undertaker beats Shane McMahon. Well, Shane McMahon, we talked about how Shane... We'll talk about this a little more in a few seconds, but we talked about how Shane last week, it was okay. Me and Jay thought that he had 1 week as GM, just as a pity move by Vince McMahon, but 2 weeks in a row, just ridiculous. And the way they sold this, overwhelming media support. Well, that's ridiculous, and it's so ridiculous that Kayfabe News, the Onion version of wrestling, released a story that I found really funny, which was Roman Reigns stripped of the title due to overwhelming social media support. Now, if social media had any say, we'd see something more like that. Baron Corbin won the Battle Royal. Okay, well we'll see. That's probably
the only relevant thing. Although he wasn't on Raw last night, so.
Right. The Rock defeated Eric Rowan. Now this actually was a match. Apparently, I always forget that. This is listed as a match. Yeah, we all know what could be said about that. Roman Reigns beat Triple H. Again, Triple H not anywhere to be found. So basically, from top to bottom, this card meant nothing. This is just could have been a house show as far as stakes go, and that's a shame because WrestleMania should be the accumulation of a bunch of feuds and the start of some new feuds. And in this case, it was... I don't know if it was either of those things.
Yeah. The problem with this year's WrestleMania, even from the hype, we were expecting a big show because of the lack of hype and how WWE was going to shock the world 8 days or 9 days ago or whatever it was and give us one of the best WrestleManias of all time. They were hyping it up to be the biggest WrestleMania as far as attendance goes. So you'd figure they'd want to do something big to really revolutionize the business. Nope, we didn't get that. This might have been perhaps the worst WrestleMania of all time. In fact, I am going as far as to say it's worse than WrestleMania 29 and even WrestleMania 27 in a way, because WrestleMania 27 at least had a good male match. This year we didn't even have, well, besides Chris Jericho and AJ Styles, but that was decent. We didn't even have a great, memorable male wrestling match. You know what was the best match out of the night? the women's match between Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. And can you imagine me saying that? I mean, that's pathetic. Uh, this WrestleMania, it feels like what they did was use it as filler. And basically what they were doing was waiting for the aftermath to happen so that they can introduce new angles and new storylines. It almost feels as if they didn't care about WrestleMania. They put it to the side, and they were like, all right, as soon as Monday Night Raw hits the next night, that's when we really get shit started here. And it shouldn't be that way. WrestleMania, starting Sunday night, should matter and introduce new stories based off of what happened from the previous night. And that we didn't get any of that. Like in the years before, we would get that. We would see continuation of storylines from the night before at WrestleMania. And no, on Monday Night Raw the next night, it was almost as if WrestleMania was a basic pay-per-view, and they were getting ready to move on to the next big pay-per-view. That's what this almost feels like. And it's very weird sitting here saying that, because not only was the hype bad, not only was WrestleMania itself bad, the build-up was bad, but now we're sitting here and we're let down. And if the product in general was very stale before WrestleMania, and WrestleMania itself was stale, imagine what the rest of the year holds for WWE as far as the product goes. And I still don't feel excited. I still don't feel like, holy shit, something crazy is going to happen, because I was let down. And the night for them to execute and give us a holy shit moment was the night after on Raw, and we didn't get any holy shit moment at WrestleMania. Nothing. No swerve or anything. So what is the motto for WWE? Is it just for Shane McMahon to run Raw? Is that all? Because if you're going to have change, where's the execution? Do you feel, going back to Shane McMahon, do you feel like he's executed so far as far as change goes? I mean, basically, I feel like it's the exact same show, just with a different face, and this time it's a baby face and not a heel, but the format and the structure is still the exact same, and the booking is still the exact same.
Well, I did read that there was more minutes of wrestling on the show than usual. So that's something. But other than that, no, it's not really been a change, and I wouldn't expect there to be a change since Shane McMahon lost, but it's good to see Shane. I love seeing Shane. I'm not going to complain about that. It's just confusing because it conditions the fans to say, look, the matches don't matter. The outcomes don't matter. Nothing matters. It's all just conditioning the fans, which they've been doing for years. This is not anything new, but this is sort of a new height, because in this situation, literally nothing mattered. Nothing at all. We just went through the card and we can see there's nothing that really changed. So it basically just tells the fans, yeah, you could miss WrestleMania. It's all fine. And someone mentioned, yeah, WrestleMania was free this year. I think that is a big part of it. Not just that it was free, just the network model has changed the way pay-per-views are done now. These days, pay-per-views are not being sold for $60. They're being sold for $10. And for many people, $0 for the new subscribers. So the model right now is just to get people on the network for that month. It's not anything else, and that's what all this was about. That's what Shane was about, just to get people to watch WrestleMania, to fill that arena, and to get eyes on the product for that month. It was just an in the moment solution to the temporary need of having to put eyes on the screen. And that's the model that we have right now with the network. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because of what I just mentioned. It's a good thing because we get a lot of riskier moves, like seeing AJ Styles in the main event. They are not banking on him selling a $60 pay-per-view anymore, so they could afford to do that. And we've seen a lot of interesting main events since the network started. But yeah, this is the liability that we have to take with it. And I think people need to get used to that. Like I said, leading up to it, WrestleMania is like Christmas. It was nice when you were growing up, but it's dead now. And maybe we should all accept that, because it certainly feels that way. I know we've had 2 good WrestleManias before this year. But
definitely, by far.
Those are good WrestleManias, don't get me wrong, but the build-up was still not that great either. So It's
better than this crap we got this year for sure.
well, I don't know about that. I still think the build up for this one was fine, for the most part. But
God.
other than that, I don't know. I think WrestleMania, people gotta stop looking at WrestleMania as this big thing, because they're just getting their hopes up for something they know at this point is not going to deliver. If anything, I think SummerSlam and those pay-per-views are more up our alley, because we always get the big things at SummerSlam, it seems. That's when we got the Punk angle, the Daniel Bryan angle. WrestleMania is a spectacle. They will stack that card with as many spectacles as they can to pad their numbers in whatever way they want. So that's what WrestleMania is for them.
But it shouldn't be like another statistic of their accomplishments, and that's a problem, because I feel like that's killing the business. And whether people want to agree with that or not, I legitimately feel like that may kill their business in the long run if they're just looking at WrestleMania as a show to brag about because of numbers and buy rates and things like that. Like, basically they're just using WrestleMania as a way to brag about how big they are nowadays. They were featured on ESPN, featured all over the news, and that's enough for them. But they don't give a shit about giving us a good show because they're this big billion-dollar corporation with a lot of money. They have a network now, so all they care about are subscriptions and the numbers. But that's going to kill their business, because if you keep tuning off everybody, eventually you're going to have to make WrestleMania start being great again. And it shouldn't just be a spectacle. That's what this WrestleMania was this year, was nostalgia, seeing Austin and Shawn Michaels and The Rock. I mean, okay, it was cool to see them, but what other memorable moments came out of WrestleMania? And that's a problem.
Well, you know how to make WrestleMania great again, right?
How's that?
You gotta bring back Donald Trump. Bring him back. Bring back the President of the United States, Donald Trump, for next year's WrestleMania.
Be the guest host of WrestleMania. Why not?
Hell yeah. Trump 2016, my friends.
Oh my God. Yeah, have him face Vince McMahon in a 60-minute Iron Man match as the main event. That would certainly get all the money in the world.
Let's have him face Vince for another hair match, but this time he'll take Apollo Crews, who is basically the new Bobby Lashley anyway.
Oh, hired Bobby Lashley back. This is brilliant. You're hired.
We will talk about Apollo Crews, because I see this guy. He's really good, but he is dangerously Bobby Lashley-like, and that's not good when you're smiling like that.
Except he's more athletic. He can move around more in the ring than Bobby Lashley could. But
Bobby Lashley's pretty athletic.
Can he move around the way Apollo Crews can and do those?
Apollo Crews is more athletic, but not by much. It's not like a huge mark. Anyway, that's another topic for another time. So we can only hope next year's WrestleMania will be better. But I can guarantee you next year's WrestleMania main event, it's going to be Cena versus Reigns, as long as they're both healthy. So I hope you're all looking forward to that.
And by the way, I've been saying this for the longest time now. I'm going to keep saying it. John Cena is turning heel before he faces Roman Reigns. Yes, if he doesn't turn heel before he faces Roman Reigns, he's gonna turn heel during that match or something. You'll see what happens. But
okay,
stay tuned. That's another discussion for another time. I have my own little theory about that. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of PWF Empire Live, and thank you guys for the support, the wonderful feedback from the chat tonight. It was awesome. I enjoyed doing this. I want to thank Jay for the opportunity, and PWF Empire Live will be back next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, hopefully.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, can we pull that off right? I don't know. I think we need Jay for that. Once again, for Jay, who's listening, Eric Rowan is the MVP. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for tonight's edition of PWF Empire Live. Peace out.